even the small communities that do exist, they have this handicap on them, which is that they must be moderated. Right? There's always somebody else in the room, which is whoever is enabling you to use that medium of communication, which, whether you're up to anything nefarious by the moderator standpoint or not, doesn't really matter, because it causes a different psychological response in you when you use this thing.
Right.
Like, you talk differently. Like, have you ever had a phone call where you've got, you're like calling your wife, but your friend's in the room? Like, you don't talk the same way anymore, right? Because someone else is listening.
Yeah.
It's like that, right? It's just implicit that there's always someone else that is either listening or is ultimately in charge of your mode of communication. And it'd be much better if, you could actually fine tune your ability to talk directly to people and not be worried about there being anybody else listening in.
It's super interesting. I never really thought about that. Is there's something kind of subtle about the psychology of either believing that you're being watched, or there's a good chance that you are. That would cause a pretty substantial difference in group dynamics. And I'll say anecdotally, one of the first times I used Urbit, there was a funny situation where I was in a group and I knew who the person was on the other end in this group situation. And we knew each other offline, but he didn't know it was me. And I did notice that the actual quality of the discourse that was happening, at least to me, seemed to be higher. Like there was something different about it. And that was one of my first moments where I was like, okay, kind of like what you're saying, there's something going on here in terms of the feeling of using technology in this different way.
And I think it kind of happens at an unconscious level.
Yeah.
Right? You're aware of this. You can become aware of this, but you may not. You're still acting on the principle.
Right.
Yeah. So, this is the thing that Urbit creates at this fundamental level, is the ability for people to talk directly with one another.